Looking back over your life feels like looking through a Viewmaster, flipping through all those little moments and decisions that seemed so inconsequential at the time, but have made up the course of your life. You see the toys you played with as a kid, the sports you played in high school, where you went off to college, what you chose to study, who you met, the jobs you worked, everything that led to the person you are now. Inevitably, this sort of reflection leads to one question: what if I had done something differently? At a pivotal crossroads in my life, what if I had made a different choice? I have spent a lot of time reflecting on the choices I've made, and there are a lot that I think if I knew what I knew now, I would have made a different decision. So to keep you from having to learn those lessons the hard way, here are the 3 biggest lessons I wish I knew sooner. Number 1, forget about the vanity metrics. It's so easy to get caught up in the game of comparison. When I was graduating college and just starting out in my career, it was easy to compare where I was to the friends that I graduated with. Graduating from business school, a lot of my friends took fancy consulting or finance jobs off in New York, working on Wall Street, making a lot more than I was when I took a remote job and worked in New Mexico because my wife was in medical school there. It would have been easy to constantly get caught up in the trap of comparison, of feeling like I was behind since my salary was so much lower. Similarly, I used to read into metrics on the YouTube videos I'd post. I'd wonder what I was doing wrong, that I wasn't getting more subscribers, or get discouraged by lack of growth and let that stop me from creating. I felt like I needed to make a side hustle out of it, and since I wasn't seeing any growth or financial return, I wouldn't prioritize it. But I've since learned that none of those things matter. It does not matter how much money you make. It's infinitely more important whether you are happy. So instead of focusing on those metrics as the indicator of if I'm living a successful life, I've learned to focus on happiness and satisfaction. While I was working that first job and making a lot less than my peers, I also was working remotely, and my job was pretty chill all around. That meant I got to take work on the road and see some incredible places in Colorado and New Mexico and the rest of the US. It meant that I had more free time to spend doing the things that I love, like spending time with my family or getting to make YouTube videos. It was the first time in my life where I was consistently posting YouTube videos because I finally had the time. Ultimately, I wouldn't trade the time to do the things I love for more money. And I've brought that lesson to everything I do. Instead of worrying about numbers when I've posted, I've focused on creating videos that I enjoy making. I ask myself, if I never made $1 from YouTube, if no one else ever watched my videos, would I still make this? And I've gotten to a place where the answer is yes. I've started making videos that I enjoy making, separating income from the art that I'm creating. And that has made the creation process itself infinitely more enjoyable and freeing. Of course, you need money to live. You need to figure out a way to make enough money to do what you're happy doing. But ultimately, it's not about having more money than anyone else or more likes, more attention than anyone else. All that matters is that you find the thing that you love to spend time doing and figure out how to spend more and more of your time doing that thing. Number 2, be more patient. If there's one flaw that's hard-coded into my brain, it's a lack of patience. I've always been quick to get things done. Of course, that tendency also led to some negative outcomes. In college, I started several side hustles. I tried reselling sneakers that I'd buy from stores like TJ Maxx or Ross. I tried drop shipping on Amazon, but ultimately, I would always give up after a few months when I had only made a few $100s in profit. The time I was putting into it just wasn't worth the outcome. But that's because I wanted results quickly. I wanted to work for myself without actually enjoying what I was doing or putting in the time to build a sustainable income source. That all changed when I got that first job and was able to make YouTube videos consistently on the side. When I realized that I could find something that I enjoyed doing enough to do long term and spend an hour or two a day on the thing I really love doing, I could do that forever. I no longer had this deadline of needing to be my own boss or putting all this pressure on myself to achieve that within a certain time frame. The key to getting anything meaningful done is consistency over a long period of time. So instead of rushing to try to reach your goals as quickly as possible, find something that you love doing that you could keep doing in perpetuity, and then just do that. Find a way to make it sustainable. Be patient. Number 3, practice being present. This lesson might seem ironic in a video that's all about the lessons I learned from the past, but I've spent way too much of my life living in the past or in the future. In college, I always wanted to get a job. I couldn't wait to graduate and start my first real adult job, especially senior year. I just predicted that I'd have so much more free time to pursue my hobbies, the things I love doing, once I finally graduated, once I finally got that job. But that never came true. Looking back, I had just as much free time then as I do now with my job. In fact, maybe I even had more then because I have more responsibilities now. And after I started my job, I looked back and wondered if I had made the right choice. What if I had chosen a different major, a different career path? Would I be making more money? Would I be doing work that I enjoyed more? What if I had made a different decision? When I started a YouTube channel, I looked back and wondered what would have happened if I had started earlier. Or I look ahead and dream of numbers and success, focusing on the future and what could be, and then getting disappointed when it doesn't come to fruition. But when I finally grounded myself in the present and actually started my YouTube channel, all of that looking back and forward faded away. I was engaged with what I was doing in the day-to-day. It immediately solved the regret of not having started sooner. When my time was spent actually creating, I was focused on the art in front of me. I didn't have time or mental capacity to think about those other things. All I could think about was how to get my thoughts onto video. But it is a practice. It's impossible to be grounded in the present moment all the time. Even when I'm not thinking about the past or future, too often I'm still not actually in the here and now. When I'm making a cup of coffee, I'll pull out my phone and scroll Twitter, instead of just being present for the 3 minutes making a pour over takes. When I'm on the couch watching Netflix with my wife, I still pull out my phone and start scrolling social media because it's there and it's easy, a whole portal to worlds completely outside my own, sitting right there. So I practice putting my phone out of reach so I can be more grounded in the present. I practice getting rid of the need for distraction so I can focus on what's actually going on around me. And I'm not perfect at it, but I've learned to be a little bit less dependent on distraction in my day-to-day life. And this has been a big focus for me, so I've built a lot of practical systems that help me be more present. So if you're also looking to be more present and more grounded in your real life, here are some of the practical things you can work on. Put your phone away, set screen time limits, put it in a different room, go for a walk without it. Practice breaking that dependence and spend more time building the presence muscle. Meditate. Spend dedicated time every day with the sole purpose of being present. Start small with 3 minutes or 5 and work your way up. Again, all about building up that muscle. Journal throughout the day. Keep a small notebook on you wherever you go. Put it at your desk when you're working or take it with you on a walk. Write out the things you feel throughout the day. What good feelings did you feel? When did you feel not so great? By taking the time to check in with yourself and how you actually feel at any given moment, you ground yourself in the present in what you're actually experiencing throughout your day. Whenever I pull out the Viewmaster and start looking back at my past, I often feel those pangs of regret, wishing I had done something differently. But when I really stop to think about it, I'm glad I made every choice that I made. And if I had the opportunity to redo any of it, I wouldn't take that chance. Without all of those decisions, without all of those mistakes I made, without all the choices I made, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have these 3 lessons and so many others that have shaped me into a happy, fulfilled person. So try to put these things into practice. Forget about the vanity metrics and focus on what's actually important. Be patient and find a sustainable workflow that'll allow you to keep doing what you love without burning out. And practice being more present. Never stop building that muscle. Life is a never-ending cycle of improvement, and I'm sure in 5 more years, there will be plenty of new lessons I wish I knew right now in this moment. But I can't predict the future. I can't look ahead to what my life will look like. I can only take the lessons I learned in the past and apply them to the present, to the here and now. I can only change the choices I'm making now to give myself a better shot at a better future. And these are the 3 lessons that I'm most focused on right now.